We have M. Jagdish Kumar, Chairman, University Grant Commission, UGC, Professor of Electrical Engineer, IIT Delhi. Also, he held the position of Vice Chancellor of prestigious university, JNU, Jawaharlal Nehru University.
If you look at the goals we have set for ourselves, we want to become the third largest economy in the world sooner. Now, if our economy has to grow, we have three sectors which are contributing to it. You have the manufacturing, services, and agriculture. And if our economy has to grow at a faster pace, we need a well-trained workforce. And in all these three sectors, whether it is agriculture, services, or manufacturing, you require highly skilled people. Now, what has happened is, if you look at our higher education system or even the school education system, there is no way of providing appropriate skills to our students because our educational system is very, very rigid. But thanks to the national education policy, which we launched in July 2020, we are now bringing a lot of flexibility and freedom and choices to the students, both in the school education and the higher education. Now, the students who come out of the higher education, they contribute in different ways, especially when the technology is evolving at a rapid pace. You require people to have these newer skills as part of their education. Now, what has happened is that because of the rigidity that we had in our educational system, the skills that the students acquire as part of their higher education and the demands of the industry, the kinds of skills they are looking for, there is a great mismatch. There is a huge gap. Now, both the national education policy and several schemes that we are launching, either through the Ministry of Education or through various other organizations, the aim here is to bridge this gap. So how do you bridge this gap? The challenge for us is that if the students are studying certain subjects, if they are gaining some theoretical knowledge, are they also prepared enough to apply this theoretical knowledge in a practical situation to find solutions to the problems? Can they become problem solvers and solution providers? Now, keeping this in mind, what we are doing in higher education is to provide as many opportunities to the students as possible to acquire this experiential learning alongside the theoretical knowledge that they are acquiring as part of their education. So there are many schemes that we are launching to realize this goal. It is not the quantity of research that we do, but it is the quality which matters. If you look at the number of educational institutions from India which are finding place among the top university in the world, top universities in the world, in the world university rankings, every year the number of universities and the educational institutions which are finding themselves in this global list is increasing. Now, how does that happen? Unless the quality of research is improving, because in the global rankings, the citation of your research work also is an important component. The fact that more number of research papers from India are getting cited globally and the citation rate is increasing means that the quality of research is increasing. But however, we need to scale it up. Absolutely, there is no doubt about that, because the centrally funded institutions, they accommodate about 6% of the total number of students in the higher education system. The remaining 94% of the higher education students, they are in the university system. They could be state universities, private universities, deemed to be universities, and the central universities. And it is in these university campuses that we need to strengthen the research ecosystem. So towards that, what we are doing as a regulator, as UGC, we are encouraging every university to have an R&D cell. And I'm glad to inform you that after we launched this program of establishing R&D cells in the university system, now more than 900 universities have established the R&D cells. Now the goal of this R&D cell is to train our younger faculty on how to write a successful project proposal. proposal, and if you get a grant from a funding agency, how to manage this grant, how to purchase the equipment. We are promoting all three kinds: the funding from the alumni, funding from the industry, and also the government funds. Now suppose the faculty member using these funds, they do some basic research. Now we should not end there. Can we convert this basic research into some kind of prototype, and from the prototype can I take it to the market by establishing a startup company? So there are a chain of events that need to strengthen the research efforts by the universities. So the work is in progress, and now we also have the National Research Foundation, NRF, which is getting funds from the industry and also from the government, and the funding that comes from the NRF will be competition based, and it will not distinguish between a public university and a private university. All of them can compete for this funding, utilize that fund and connect these dots so that the manufacturing in our country will be enhanced. We ourselves will be developing newer technologies and newer products in our country. If you see countries which have done very well in technology areas and they're economically growing, the collaborations between academic institutions and industry is very strong. Similarly, the collaboration between academic institutions and the defense, that is also very, very important. So when you look at these two sectors, during last 20 years or so, the collaboration between our defense institutions, the defense research efforts and the educational institutions is actually growing. We are working on developing these technologies indigenously so that our defense doesn't have to depend on imports.
Right.
But when you look at the industry and the university collaboration, we have a lot to do in that direction. The reason for this is that there are 4 reasons, let me tell you. You see, unless the industry and the university system, they develop shared goals, it will be very difficult to work on a mutually agreeable projects. So universities and the industries have to work on developing these shared goals. And 2, the university system has a different kind of culture as opposed to the culture in an industry. In industry, you're always chasing the deadlines, you're trying to commercialize the knowledge, whereas in the university system, you have a slightly laid back attitude, right? So therefore, both of them have to understand these differences in the culture and develop a common ground. Now for that to happen, you need to develop better communication channels. Both of them have to visit each other, and to provide these kind of opportunities, UGC has recently introduced a new scheme called the Professor of Practice. So as Professor of Practice, experienced persons from the industry can come to the universities and work with the younger students in the university system. And I'm glad to inform you that we have close to about 650 professors of practice already appointed during the last 2 years across the university system in the country. So the most important component of better industry and university collaborations is building trust in each other. You see, if you look at how the universities are ranked, there are various components. One of the largest component, 40%, is for perception by the peers, and 10% is the perception by the recruiters, and then the research component comes, and then how many foreign faculty are there in your university, how many international students are there in your university, what is the teacher-student ratio. So these are all parameters. Now if you see this year in some of the global ranking schemes, 2 of the IITs have come at 150 and below, right? There are even state universities which have come within the top 300. There are many universities which are coming within top 500, and this number is increasing. This is an indication that there is a more positive perception about our institutions, because the alumni that we produce, they are doing excellently whether they are in India or globally. So therefore there is a positive perception that is building about our institutions. And two, as I mentioned in the beginning of our discussion, that the quality of research is improving, the number of citations are also improving, and then we are also working on study in India programs. Now we have a one unified portal where the foreign students can examine which are the programs in which they can join, which are the universities they can join. So we are making it easy for the students to get admission in India, and hopefully the number of students who will study in India will increase. So there are multitude of efforts that we are making to make sure that our universities appear among the top global universities. See, no ranking system is ideal. So we have been telling these ranking organizations also that India is a very diverse country. It's a huge educational system. I'll give you one example. The kind of affirmative actions that we have in our university system, tell me in which global university we have. And the kind of students who come to our university system, they come from rural background, they come from socially, economically weaker backgrounds, and once they come into these educational institutions, their life is transformed. It is not just one student whose life is transformed. There is a huge family whose economic status and the social status which is enhanced. So therefore, the objectives for which we are working as a country in our university system, it is a very, very comprehensive objective towards which we are working. It is not just only to get into the top world university rankings, but as we keep improving our research ecosystem, as our alumni start contributing and continue to contribute in India and also globally, I have absolutely no doubt that many of our universities will appear in the top global rankings.